Alright everybody, so one thing I think that we all know is that it's harder to get better at something if we don't practice it. So one thing a lot of golfers do is they just go out onto the course and they play all the time, but they don't really get any better, and it kind of confuses them. They don't understand why. So one really important thing for us to do is to take a little time, maybe every week, or depends on how often you play, and just every once in a while practice, which I know it's hard, it takes time and everybody's busy. But we did a lot of drills here today that you can practice in your own time, like the tees. They're not hard to come by, so if you just find a couple tees, put it down in the green and try and find a straight putt and putt straight through that. Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, before every tournament, they make 100 of those putts through the tees. It just teaches you your path, so that's one thing you can practice. Also, one good thing to do when you're practicing is to put some pressure on yourself. So if you tell yourself, I can't leave the green until I make 25 of these putts, or if you're doing 3-footers and say, I have to make 25 in a row, put some pressure on yourself that kind of is equal to the pressure that you feel when you're out there playing golf, because sometimes that pressure can be out of the ordinary, and that's why we can miss a lot of putts. So those are just some things you can practice in your free time. So a couple things we can do for practice. As we know, like we've talked about last week, it's really important that you practice. A lot of people go out on the golf course and they don't see any improvement, and that's because they don't practice. So it's really important to do some drills and just come out in your spare time and practice. So one thing you can do is come out with some balls. One thing we call in golf an up and down is where you chip the ball up and then you make the putt. So that's one thing you can put pressure on yourself and practice that pressure situation where you chip the ball up and then you have to make the putt. That also teaches you that you want to get the ball closer so that that putt is a lot easier. So what you can do is kind of like in basketball, there's the game around the world. You can do that in golf too, where you drop a ball around the green in different places and then you have to go around the world, and you can't go to the next ball until you get the first one up and down. So that's one practice routine you can do. So it's really important just to put some pressure on yourself with practice situations. So don't forget to practice, and hopefully you guys can get some practice in before next week. Okay, so one thing I want you guys to always